Intro. The goal of this book is to empower you to never be poor in pocket or persona. The monetized mentality introduces a mindset oriented toward profiting from all aspects of your life. Whether it's entrepreneurship, investing, or personal branding, these strategies aim to maximize both financial and personal gain. Simplifying economic concepts allows you to easily improve your financial situation and outlook. While at the same time understanding these principles, you'll see how your relationship with money directly reflects your self-worth. Your actions mirror your thoughts in all areas of life. Learning the connection between money and mentality helps you balance profit-driven pursuits with core values like integrity, ethics, and personal fulfillment. It's not just about getting rich, but about approaching every situation with an awareness of your value and how it can return to you.
Chapter 1. Principles and Declarations. Principles. What successful businesses and successful people have in common is that they invest in themselves. Investors are all about growth, and the only way to track growth is by knowing their principles. You're the investor in your life, and whatever you spend on makes a return to you. Whether you're paying money or attention, it will resurface as a cost or profit. When you spend instead of invest, you're wasting time or money. You must stop spending your thoughts, your time, and your money. Everything in life must be an investment. From The Wealth Mindset by Neville Goddard. When something gets your attention, it's important to limit your focus on it to the proportion it impacts you. Many people pay too much attention to things that don't profit them, and it ends up costing them time and money. As a result, they end up wishing that they had more time and money. Every expense has a price, and every investment has a principle. For something to be paid off, the principle must be focused on despite the interest rates. Mentally, an investor must focus on their principles regardless of how many things pique their interest. The principle in investing is the original amount invested, separate from earnings or interest gained. Your principles are what you value regardless of who has an interest in them. Having principles allows you to know what you're worth and what you can afford to accept. Principles have the same purpose in terms of mentality as they do in business. They show you the price they're willing to pay for what you want. That's why when you mind your own business, you can make a fortune. If you don't own a percentage in it, then it's none of your business. To be principled means to consistently operate with principles that can be clearly explained. Ray Dalio in his book Principles. When you operate in a way that's clear to yourself and aligned with your values, you can predict outcomes early. You may not know what's to come, but you know how you'll respond. The less clearly defined your principles are, the more unpredictable you become. Unpredictable men are usually unsuccessful. Having well-defined principles allows you to stand your ground and eliminate distractions. Knowing exactly what you stand for lets you know when to walk, run, or step away. As interest rates rise and fall, principles stand over all. It also lets people know what to expect from you in any type of relationship. Great investors like Warren Buffett understand how to find value that others can't always see. His strategy makes him seem like a genius when he uses reality and common sense against the masses. By holding to his principles, mentally and financially, he's able to withstand the inconsistency of the others. While others panic, buy, and sell, his financial investments have been able to stand the test of time by sticking to his monetized mentality. One of his most prevailing principles is, if you aren't willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. The origin of his principle is unknown, but it has led to him becoming a billionaire. However, it can be clearly explained, which validates a good principle. All investments should consider the time it will take an investment to pay off in addition to the financial cost. When you get a car loan, for example, the interest can increase as time goes on, but the principle sits unchanged. By focusing on the principle, you can reduce the amount of interest added and pay less as you pay down the principal. In life, experts have uncovered that it usually takes 10 years for principals to pay off. While you may gain different interests over time, Focusing on your principles can speed up your payoff. Distractions are interests you pay attention to that cost you more time to accomplish your goals. A person who has clearly defined principles can accomplish goals faster because these principles act as a set of predetermined responses to various stimuli, reducing the time spent on decision-making and increasing consistency in actions. The same as paying off a debt. When you focus on your principle, you can get it done quicker, even waiting to see an investment mature. Focusing on your principles allows you to see what you're gaining or losing from the current time. In reality, focusing on repaying the principal of a loan results in the same thing as concentrating on your main principles aligned with your goals. You finish faster. This perspective highlights the value of prioritizing tasks and maintaining focus to maximize productivity and success. If you know you want to accomplish a big goal like getting rich, starting a business, etc., you will be tempted to pursue other things that will make you take longer. However, giving yourself sets of rules and boundaries helps you keep the spotlight on the bigger picture. Declaring what you stand for declines what you'll fall for. Although you should make your principles unique to yourself, the monetized mentality suggests defining your principles based on where you want to be in 10 years. In Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, he discussed a study about how it takes 10 years to become a professional at everything. In study after study of composers, basketball players, fiction writers, ice skaters, concert pianists, chess players, master criminals, and what have you, this number comes up again and again. It seems that it takes the brain this long to assimilate all that it needs to know to achieve true mastery. Malcolm Gladwell. Accountability. Psychologist Anders Ericsson, whose studies on expert performance influenced Gladwell, emphasized the importance of deliberate practice. Note that this doesn't just mean doing something for a long time, but focusing on improving specific skills. Ericsson is quoted saying, "The journey to truly superior performance is neither for the faint of heart nor for the impatient. The development of genuine expertise requires struggle, sacrifice, and honest, often painful self-assessment." Self-assessment goes back to being an investor. You have to figure out what something is worth to you before you can profit. Otherwise, you will unknowingly pay too little or too much with disproportionate expectations. Every successful business has accountants. Every expense and gain needs to be accounted for. To build yourself up independently, you have to be accountable for your thoughts and actions. Being unaware of your actions and impact on others makes you unaccountable. It also hinders you from playing your part to your advantage. If you know your position and never try to advance, you are counting yourself out. You will always come up short when you count yourself out. When you're accountable to yourself, you raise your self-worth. Being accountable for your actions raises your value overall. This directly increases or decreases your worthiness of success. Your time is always worth more than the money because your time is used to get money. The more time you take to perfect a skill, the less time it takes you to execute. The less time it takes you to execute, the more time you have to profit from it. Holding a principle that you expect to be relevant in 10 years allows you to see past short-term circumstances. If you constantly change your principles and goals based on your situation, you will rarely escape them. By only focusing on profiting in the short term, you will sell yourself short long term. When somebody offers you something while your self-worth is too low, you'll get underpaid. If your self-worth is too high, you might reject offers and not get paid at all. This is the need for accountability and long-term thinking to have long-term success. A person can be offering you too little right now, but that relationship may be worth 10x more than the pay down the road. You may also be offered more money to do a job right now that doesn't give you the experience required for the job or business you want. Thinking about what you want later allows you to negotiate based on what benefits you in the long run, despite what the circumstances allow. If you're investing in social currency, you will seek opportunities that may be worth little cash, but be highly valuable later. In transformational relationships, all parties give more than they take. There is an abundance mindset and an openness to novelty and change. Rather than viewing people or services as a cost, as in the transactional mindset, everything is viewed as an investment with the possibility of 10 times, 100 times, or even bigger returns and change. Dan Sullivan in his book, Who Not How. Defining the lowest and highest prices you're willing to accept before entering into a negotiation gives you an advantage. This lets you maintain a confident and composed demeanor while also being receptive to reasonable offers. You need to establish clear principles to avoid getting trapped in crowds, cults, and schemes. Otherwise, you end up relying on what you're offered instead of what you have to offer. Focusing on their demands undermines your supply and results in minimal profit. People with no principles often fall prey to overvalued individuals and investments. The overvalued people can use their hype and circumstances to dangle over the people who feel unworthy. Many influencers, pastors, politicians, etc., demand offerings and donations to elevate them while they show little to no mercy or charity. Their success and persona feed on the less educated and confident to boost their status. Instead of investing in themselves, people pay to see what they lack. People will donate to politicians to see power, pastors to see faith, beauty gurus to see good looks, athletes to see strength, etc. The less value people see in themselves, the more they're willing to pay to see it. In terms of other traps, look at investments like Dogecoin. It was created as a joke and doesn't have a strong use case or inherent value. Having a long-term investing principle would see that it's just for fun and invest accordingly without risking your life savings. Thus, the value was its hype, not its value. While a few made money from the big jumps in price, it was short-term. As the hype went down, so did the price, and many people who held it too long lost thousands of dollars. Having investment principles like considering what it will be worth in 10 years triggers a bit more thought. It makes you look at different aspects of the investment, competition, what it will most likely be worth in 10 years, and your best options. The same goes for self-worth. It's easy to get hyped up by gurus, peers, parents, etc., telling you where the money is right now. Yet, when the money is inflated by hype, when the hype declines, so will the value. For instance, consider dropshipping. There are countless individuals, blogs, and online courses that hype up the potential earnings that can be made from dropshipping. While it may have been lucrative at one point, it has several hurdles to overcome in reality. Intense competition, reliance on unreliable suppliers, low margins, and increasing marketing costs make this a tough market to succeed in. Also, many of the suppliers have the same basic products that can be customizable, like mugs and hoodies. The online classes, meetings, etc. essentially increased the supply of dropshippers, and by default lowered the price of items that can be dropshipped. Seeing the amount of people who sell classes could help predict the influx of their students, each using the same tricks once they finish the courses. Worthiness. Dropshipping and Dogecoin are nothing new and are just modern gold rushes. A few people strike gold early, nearly exhaust the resources, and then others scramble for their leftovers. One principle that the jean company Levi Strauss used during the 1949 gold rush was, during a gold rush, sell shovels. They made a lasting brand selling shovels and jeans instead of rushing for quick gold with the crowd. It's the same principle many scammers use to sell their courses and consultations. They essentially enable their followers to dig for nothing. If they were striking gold, they wouldn't be selling you a shovel, directly increasing their competition. The victims of scams never know their worth and rarely have principles. They want something for nothing, showing that they don't value what they have. Yet the scammer values what the victims have enough to take it. Sadly, if you undervalue yourself, people will underpay. Gladly. Although the world doesn't owe you anything, you're entitled to be compensated for the value you bring. It's up to you to account for your strengths and weaknesses. People may not see your value yet because they look at the price that they have to pay to be around or use you. That is a reflection of their cheapness, poor mentality, or inability to see value. People hate to pay, and some will always question your worth and at times make you question yourself. The time you take to overcome difficulties to establish your skills, mentality, etc., is mostly unseen by others. Knowing your value also allows you to pinpoint where you will be valued most. When you've invested time to develop your skills and clearly define them, you save all parties time and effort in finding someone reliable. By knowing your worth, you can charge a convenience fee when you place yourself in the right environment. Airports can charge over $4 for a 50-cent water because they know their place as well as what people need from them. It shows how money is based on usefulness, not the other way around. When you know your place in people's lives and their options in relation to you, you can maximize your profits. Your value rises and falls not based on what you know or who you know. It's what you know about yourself and what you know people need or want. Self-awareness allows you to identify your place in life and where others will cross your path. Finding the highest point at which your value aligns with their need is supply and demand. Knowing what you don't offer is just as important. When you accept offers based on things that you lack the capability or quality to produce, it costs you more in the end. When you can't meet expectations, you lower them and also your reputation. You also waste time trying to learn something you can have someone else do. Making bad deals is a waste of time. Money is a time exchange. All deals, whether they involve jobs, sales, or relationships, are to save or spend time. The person paying for something is either incapable of producing, unwilling, or just lacks time to do it themselves. The less time they have to find a better or equal solution to you increases your value. Appreciation. Saying no to things you can't do saves you time and allows you more time to find a better buyer. It also shows that you value your time, which can increase what they're willing to pay. Fewer people buy higher-priced items, but higher-priced items get more appreciation. Appreciation in investments is the increase in the value of an asset over time. As an investor, you want to seek assets that have the potential for appreciation because it leads to profit when the asset is sold. In this case, it's your skill set and personal values. Appreciation in relationships involves recognizing and valuing the qualities, efforts, and contributions of someone. It helps strengthen bonds, deepen trust, and enhance mutual understanding and satisfaction. In both cases, appreciation is about value recognition. If they don't recognize you as an asset, they will depreciate you. If they don't recognize your value financially, they will underpay you. To profit in life, the company you keep and the investments you make must always be appreciated. Higher quality goods take more time to produce but have higher rewards. You don't haggle over prices in grocery stores because the prices and quality are clearly defined. They account for labor, shipping, materials, etc. So there's a minimum they can charge before it's worth producing. Uncertainty lowers value. When you're not sure what you offer, it makes you look unhinged. It's like buying bread that may or may not be molded. You won't want to pay full price on a gamble. People want to know what they can expect before they write a check. Many view the principals as what they owe and think of interest as their debt increasing. That's a lack mentality, and if you think in terms of lack, you always lose. When you think of appreciation as a gain for yourself, it's a monetized mentality. Whether you're paying off a car that helps you attract deals, women, or get to work to make more money, if you appreciate it will increase your value and interest gained. Therefore, appreciating what you have and what you have to offer will show others that you aren't counting yourself out. As the investor, you get to decide what the value is and how much interest you expect over time. If you invest in things that you appreciate, you profit no matter how much interest it gains. High risks come with high rewards, but calculated risks always add up. When you know exactly what you're worth, It gives you a base level that you will go to, and it saves you from being lowballed. Not appreciating what you have forces you to negotiate on their level of interest, giving others the negotiation power. This applies to any moral codes that you have. They guide you in certain directions. People will offer you their 2 cents disguised as interest, but if it costs you your peace of mind, you're being robbed. Using others' 2 cents is worthless to you because they're using their overvalued opinion to devalue yours. It's up to you to do your research and make choices based on what it's worth to you. If they're not putting money or research behind their word, it's a worthless speculation. There are a million speculators in the economic world who consistently make bold and wrong predictions, and many take too little from life simply because they feel too small. Because there are 3 classes of intellects, one which comprehends by itself, another which appreciates what others comprehend, and a third which neither comprehends by itself nor by the showing of others. The first is the most excellent, the second is good, the third is useless. Niccolò Machiavelli, The Prince. The object is to define what you stand to gain and stand behind your decisions. After the principle is known, settling for anything less is a loss. As long as you don't sell yourself short, you win in the long run. Principles increase self-worth and net worth because an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin. Aside from the tangible value of your goals, the more research and time invested increases your sentimental value and authority over the outcome. The increased feeling of control over yourself allows you to know instead of hope and work instead of wonder.
Merzeel.